A movie is roughly 2 to 3 hours long, and in that time there is that one or handful of scenes that stick with you long after the movie is over. You may have enjoyed every minute of the film, but it's those moments, those unforgettable scenes that echo in your thoughts long after, calling you back to watch them again or talk about them with other people. Like the opening scene in The Dark Knight, where it was able to display a compelling and interesting way of showing the Joker off, guiding you through an intricate heist with typical money-hungry goons. They kill each other off at every step of the way to increase their own cut of the profit, just to find out through an unexpected reveal, the Joker was the last one of them, showing you how calculating and unpredictable he can truly be, which establishes his status as a criminal mastermind. Or the interrogation scene that made you appreciate dialogue sequences more with the anticipation of what's going to happen next. You see the intertwined relationship between Batman and Joker and how far the Joker can take Batman. Batman and Commissioner Gordon have one simple question for the Joker in the interrogation room. It's incredibly time sensitive as Batman asks where Harvey Dent is, so he can save him. Instead of answering, Joker takes the time to play with Batman's mind, showing that everything runs on his time and that the Joker remains in control. Of course, he never wants to make anything easy for Batman, even though he's getting bruised and beaten. Joker doesn't care about the physical pain, and the scene isn't about a fight in the traditional sense. The camera stays intimate, focused on their words, body language, and expressions. It's less a brawl and more of a power struggle, as both try to dominate the moment. Joker being able to take a sense of control with the information that he also took Rachel, Batman's love interest. Or more exceptional scenes that linger with you can be found in Whiplash, especially the scene where Neiman, a freshman in the music conservatory, is pushed to his limits by his teacher Fletcher, who repeats the words,
Not quite my tempo.
More and more, causing it to be an anxious trigger for him. He is closer to achieving his goal and becoming a professional drummer, and he finally gets to be a part of the prestigious jazz band that elevates his status. However, he realizes that it isn't going to be all sunshine and rainbows, and he sees the toll that it brings. Fletcher often yells at his students, and unfortunately he sets his eyes on Neiman to be his next subject of intense abuse, not holding back at all. There's also a scene where Fletcher screams at a student who is out of tune, embarrassing him and harassing him in front of the class until he breaks him, keeping that same anxious tone from before. He was yelled at because he wasn't aware if he was making a mistake or not, which made him question his abilities to perform. Or when Neiman earned his part in the jazz band scene, where Fletcher had 3 students including him to compete for the approval of their teacher, having the students' fingers bloody in the drum sets as well, literally expressing the blood, sweat, and tears. It's interesting to see the intensity that this movie is able to deliver in a film centered on something as simple as a young person's dream to become a great drummer. It leaves you feeling anxiety seeing the amount of pain on the students, but its focus on incredible ambition makes the scene feel so intense, captivating, and emotionally rich. But there is a specific shot that filmmakers sometimes use that I feel is extremely fascinating. A technique that brings more life to a scene, and I'm amazed every time I see it. That shot is the one shot. For those who aren't aware what the one shot is, from its name suggests, it is a technique that captures the scene in one take. No cuts, no interruptions, just a continuous sequence that plays all in its entire duration. It is an extremely hard shot to pull off because of all the moving pieces and precise execution that is expected when it comes to the actors, camera operators, the directors, sound department, and so on. There is no room for error, and it needs to be done with a lot of rehearsal and practice. If there is a mistake made, there's really only 3 options you have when it comes to saving the shot. Option 1 is to restart from the very beginning of the scene. No matter where you were, you will have to restart and do it all over again, like the movie Atonement, where they had a one-shot showing the Dunkirk beach evacuation, showing the impact of war and the toll that it brings on the soldiers. They had to do this a few times because they had to restart due to the lighting, and their third take was the best one, which they used for the final film. Your second option is to cut mid-sequence and pick it up again as a new shot, rather than holding the illusion of one unbroken moment, like in 2013 Oldboy, which interrupts his hallway fight by removing a chunk of the action. Your third option is to hope the mistake isn't significant enough to ruin the take, allowing the actor to recover and carry on, like in 1917, when the lead accidentally collided with an extra but kept running, preserving the flow of the scene and the story. I remember talking to someone about why I find a one-shot so fascinating, and they mentioned how they prefer the traditional style because it can make the scene look polished, redefined, and overall feel more creative and interesting to see a film in different angles. But for me, this feels compelling to watch because it feels more engaging and interesting. It stops feeling like a movie or witnessing a story, and it feels like you are experiencing it. The camera stops feeling like a device, and it feels like it is the eyes that the director is using and lending to us in order to be in this experience. We're having a unique POV or first person shot in order to see how things unfold in real time. Again, it is an extremely hard shot to pull off, but when it does, the payoff is worth it and you are sitting there speechless. You even have to take a second to ask yourself, how did they accomplish that? Let's look at this scene from the film Extraction. The film is an action movie about a mercenary, Tyler Rake, on a mission to rescue a kidnapped drug lord's son, Ovi, from another rival gang. This one shot is roughly 13 minutes long and has multiple sequences going on, with a couple of car chases, a couple of action sequences, and also a walk through an apartment corridor as well. The scene doesn't strive for perfection. People occasionally block the camera and the movements can feel rough or chaotic. But that's exactly what gives it its power. All those raw, unpolished elements come together to create something that feels alive, something that becomes its own kind of masterpiece. It loses the sense of looking professional and looks real. Like when Ovi and Tyler have to jump to another roof where the camera mimics the feeling of the jump. Or when bullets are flying, we see the debris going past us at some points. I enjoy that atmosphere because it feels like we are a part of it. We are running and observing all of these different actions and locations as well. Like during the fight when Tyler is fending off a bunch of police officers because they are actually trying to kidnap Ovi since they are being used by the drug lord that kidnapped him in the first place. Ovi tries to run away for his life, leaving Tyler by himself. Instead of cutting, we move with Ovi to a new location. In that moment, it feels as though we fled alongside Ovi, leaving Tyler to his fate and sharing his uncertainty. Also, when Tyler is fighting the officers, the moments of hesitation make the fight feel real, raw, imperfect, and human. When Tyler runs out of bullets and has to reload, it doesn't cut to him just magically having infinite ammo. It lingers in holes so we can see every bullet has to count. It's moments like this that make the one-shot so distinct. Unlike a typical scene like the warehouse one in Batman v Superman, it captures the essence of Batman well. Every punch lands hard, every movement feels calculated, and the camera always gives us the clearest, most cinematic view. It's beautifully executed and showcases Batman's physicality. It's great choreography. The choreography is tight and the cinematography is sleek, but that's also where it differs. The Extraction one-shot feels alive, dangerous, uncertain, and human, while the warehouse scene, though spectacular, feels controlled and designed for us to admire. Extraction throws us into the chaos. Batman v Superman lets us sit back and watch it. Both are great in their own right, but Extraction's one-shot blurs the line between audience and participant, pulling us directly into the moment and making us feel the fight, rather than just seeing it. One-shots do a fantastic job at luring the audience in with its storytelling and creativity. Now let's look at a scene from Daredevil, a one-shot action sequence about 6 minutes long from Season 1 Episode 2, Cutman. It isn't the most stylish fight scene, but what it does well is make us connect to the character through suspense and worry. There is value in the build-up of the scene as we are waiting for the arrival of our hero to save this little boy that was kidnapped from his father. As we enter the scene, there's a mysterious ambience around it. We are curious to know what is going to happen next to the kidnapped boy, hoping to see our hero save him in time. Though the scene is set in a small hallway with just 3 doors, it still builds the mysterious feeling because we can't see anything behind the doors. We see bits and pieces of each room, but we never step inside of a room once. We follow these goons when they move, but have to get out of their way when they walk back. The hallway is barely lit, and we can't see their faces at some points, making the place more creepy and also harder to see at certain times as well. We aren't allowed in the rooms and we're in the way. It gives off a feeling that we are intruding in their area. All we have a full view of is the area in the hallway. Then we see the arrival of Daredevil. He listens in on the goons and then proceeds to attack. What I find interesting especially about this fight is that there are moments of uncertainty. There are times the fight is hidden behind the rooms. We are unable to witness what is going on and we're unaware of who is coming out on top and who's winning at the moment. We aren't able to see the full length of the fight, instead we're forced to rely on our sound, mimicking Daredevil's own heightened senses. The camera occasionally breaks our line of sight, leaving us to piece together the chaos through muffled grunts and the echo of impacting punches. Even the sound design mirrors his experience. Moments of distortion and silence that feel like what Daredevil himself must hear after taking a hit. The one-shot doesn't just follow him, it becomes him, making us experience the fight the way he would. So even though the scene is mysterious and we feel unwelcome, the director is giving us a special look into the mind of our main character. Then when the fight spreads into the hallway, the other set of goons react to it. It feels responsive and realistic in the setting of the fight. When the door breaks down, the other goons respond to the sound of it. When people are knocked down, they don't just disappear, and when the shot lingers to see the exhaustion of the fighters, it brings more character to them. Sure, this is an action character with special abilities in a fantasy world, but the scene does an amazing job at displaying the realism of this hero. That realistic atmosphere that the scene builds makes us care more because it makes us think and question more about the scene. We aren't just waiting for the hero to overcome this obstacle, we are now wondering what is going to happen. Is Daredevil going to win this fight? Is he going to be able to save this little boy? Using the warehouse scene again from Batman v Superman, we obviously know Batman is going to win, but it's a question of when, not if. Batman is this big brute with a bunch of gadgets, and these goons don't pose much of a threat to him. But in Daredevil, it almost feels that this isn't the case. Sure, he is not as established and this is his early work, but it almost looks like he's unable to. The exhaustion makes him feel more human than this unstoppable tank. There is no final blow, no sense of dominance. It took all of Daredevil to win this fight, and it brings him more down to earth than other heroes. It shows his flaws and it shows that he is still getting the hang of this. It was so good that it became a staple for the show's identity that they mimicked that style in season 2 episode 3 when they had another hallway fight. This time it is with a more established Daredevil that has his suit and easily beats up goons. But it still captures that raw feeling of a more down-to-earth hero that doesn't have to stop a planet-ending threat. And in season 3 episode 4 where there's a prison riot that lasts around 11 minutes long. For 11 minutes, there's action, dialogue, suspense, and more action. The fact that there is no cuts in the scene and there is more than one fight sequences amazes me. I don't really remember much of season 3, and my original intention was to focus on season 1's hallway fight. But while doing research and watching this scene, I remember what made this show extremely good. The tone that it was able to bring. I'm more of a movie guy than a TV guy, but this show made me feel like counting down the days for the next episode or season to come out, binging a show and loving every moment of it. This is what the showrunner of season 3, Eric Olson, and the showrunner of season 1, Stephen the Knight, had to say about their respective one-shot fight scenes.
Basically, dude, I just tried to rip you off in every way, shape, or form. I'm like, how do I do my hallway fight? I want my hallway fight. Oh, I know. Yeah, we'll do a prison break sequence that goes on for 11 and a half minutes without even...
Which was fantastic, by the way.
That's the only way that we could... And honestly, that was the idea of Alex Garcia-Lopez, the director, and Lewa Nasruddin, who was on the set, and they kind of called me up and said, hey, we think we can do this. I thought, they're nuts. Like, how are you going to do this whole... They pulled it off. I mean, but again, we were just trying to build on what you had done with that hallway scene, which at its time was just nobody had seen anything like that before.
Interesting with the hallway fight at the end of episode 2 in season 1. When I got the script from Drew, it was written as, and this is all one shot. And all of us were like, I was determined that, yes, it was all going to be one shot. And we had a lot of discussions about it. We looked at locations. We obviously finally decided we can't shoot this on location as one shot. We need to build the hallway. And then it was a problem of, okay, we built this hallway, we've reinforced the walls so they don't shake, but there's no room for a camera guy in there during this fight. How the hell do we do this? And our DP and our director and our stunt coordinator, they all came up with this brilliant idea of putting the camera on a track in the ceiling. And then we digitally erased the track in post. So there is no camera guy there. It's the camera guys are on the roof pushing the camera and moving it from up there, which was, incredible.
I didn't know that.
It was like such a great idea.
But you can't beat the classics, and what they were able to accomplish was remarkable, and it made it one of my favorite Marvel projects of all time. But you can't talk about hallway fights without mentioning the one in Oldboy. Oldboy, directed by Park Chan-wook, is a film about a man that was kidnapped for 15 years and released by his captive and going on a revenge rampage. I remember seeing this scene all over YouTube while looking up interesting fight scenes to watch, and thought it was a captivating fight scene. But while I was watching the movie in its entirety, I was more invested and intrigued by it. A scene that I have watched over and over again because of its amazing choreography and intense action. I was blown away by it. Just like Daredevil, it is a hallway fight scene that shows our main character fighting a group of people in a very enclosed, claustrophobic area. The way we are taken along this fight is interesting because before the fight starts, we first see that where the camera is placed is unrealistic. If we look at the scene prior to this, we can see that the walls are very close to each other, and when the fight begins, it looks like one of the walls is gone and no longer there. Or even the camera becomes the wall, making the scene more dramatic than it already was. The way that the camera goes back and forth, in a way, it gives a glimpse in the main character's life as well. Having to push forward, having to do whatever it takes to finish his goal. Seeing the ups and downs, him getting closer to his goal but then having to overcome a hurdle. It may not stand out at first, but the scene moves like a roller coaster. The camera's tight framing and constant back and forth movement keeps the tension climbing. And what you have to remember is that he was kidnapped for 15 years. For 15 years, he had the mindset of revenge and had to train. He is self-trained, and the fight does a great job at showing this. He isn't accessing hidden powers, or he isn't a successor of a world-class fighter. He is just a guy that trained himself, and his only real power is his determination for the mission he set his eyes on. No one here is better than the other, and they all have access to weapons at their disposal. Everyone here is basically on the same playing field in status. Our main character isn't bulldozing his way through the fight, but slowly he is getting by. The one-shot pulls out this sustained scene. With every strike and blow, there's more coming his way, pushing him back again. The fight is very sluggish and drawn out, but that is what makes it more captivating. There are moments of fragileness. There are moments of exhaustion. He doesn't feel like an action star or a superhero. He feels like a man trying to survive. When they are taking off their shirts and exhausted to the point that they have to catch their breath and pause the fight. When they trip over an object and move things out their way, waiting to see who is going to attack first. It makes it feel realistic and it elaborates on the story that Park Chan-wook is telling. And the last movie that I want to talk about is Children of Men. Children of Men is a film set in a grim future where humanity has become infernal, and no children has been born for nearly 2 decades. Society has fallen into chaos, the government has collapsed, violence and oppression are everywhere, and refugees are hunted down and caged. The story follows our main character Theo, a former activist who was pulled back into the fight, when his ex-wife asked him to help a young woman named Key get to safety because she is the first known pregnancy in 18 years. Theo must protect her and help her reach a secret organization called the Human Project, which might hold the key to saving humanity. Children of Men has a few one-shots throughout his film, and even though I'm only going to mostly talk about 2 of them, I want to point out that they're all able to do the same thing. In the opening scene, we are seeing Theo grabbing a cup of coffee and going on with his day. Then a few minutes later, the coffee place he just entered explodes. 1 second he was in the coffee shop and it was a normal day. He cruised along, and then as he exited, immediately the coffee shop exploded. It makes us immediately alert, disrupting the calm move randomly and making the film more fast-paced. It cuts to the next scene, leaving us a little behind and confused, asking us to keep up. Then we have a scene when Theo discovered the rebel group he's been trusting has turned on itself. Their leader, his ex-wife, once the voice of reason, has been killed by her own people so they can claim Key's miraculous baby as a tool for their revolution. The atmosphere in the refuge shifts from tense to dangerous. Not fully aware of the betrayal, sneaks through the dark halls trying to escape with Key before it's too late. The camera is shaking as Theo is moving, standing completely still when he is still, mimicking his movements and making it feel like we are sneaking alongside him and trying to avoid these people as well. The one-shot drew us into Theo's space. And when Theo's best friend sacrifices himself so that Theo can escape, we are with Theo. And just like him, we are watching from afar as bystanders, and feel just as powerless as Theo because we can't do anything to help out. These moments elevate the fragility of the character's peace, and just how in 1 minute everything can change. A single unbroken take can start in complete calm and spiral into chaos within seconds. To go more in depth, let's look at the car scene. In the beginning of the scene, we have a medium shot of our characters. The mood is light when they are joking around and the sun is shining its beam inside of the car. The characters are just talking, getting to know each other and bonding. The camera turns in a way that feels more welcoming and not very intimidating. However, when things start to shift and they start to be attacked, everything changes. The sunlight in the car disappears and is replaced with a dark, gritty look. We are now more personal and closer and more enclosed with the characters, and the mood has completely shifted. As you are watching the scene, you think nothing of it. You are anticipating a cut or something coming next. But as the scene continues to go on and continue, you feel more uneasy. You wonder what happened and how did we get here? Because 1 second ago their bodies were at ease, then they were fighting for their lives. And as it just kept going, you were wondering, when is it going to end? It expresses how fast things are able to change. The shift of their emotions as well makes them feel more real and human too.
One of the reasons we choose to tell Children of Men in very fluid long takes, or non-fluid long takes, because sometimes we have very non-fluid long takes, was to take advantage of the element of real time. We decided not to, in terms of what you see, not to see the future, but try to recognize the present. But together with that, we took this documentary approach, as if you were just following characters with your DV camera in the year 2027.
Then when it came to the war scene, it blew my mind when I saw it. Getting to see an action scene with no cuts and this amount of chaos and mayhem unfold is remarkable to witness. Getting to see Theo running, sliding, panting, and watching him run through so much space is exciting, but also gives us an anxious feeling as well. Because when he runs and waits for a good time to escape and find a place to hide and crawl through, we do the same thing. We're scared to see if we'll make it in time or if some random event will stop us from reaching our goal. Even the movement of the camera looks unprofessional and janky and moving and shaking consistently, but that's what makes it special. Sure, we are not going to get harmed, but getting that in-your-face experience of these bullets flying and explosions going off makes you feel like you're right there in the action. Then there's that instant when some blood flies on the camera lens and stays there, making it more immersive, like we're in a 4D experience. Having the blood on the lens just staying there is just the icing on the cake of this scene, because for a moment it stops feeling like a movie and it turns out it was all by mistake.
Suddenly blood spilling into the lens. That was completely not designed. Actually, in the moment in which the blood is spilling into the lens, I yelled cut, but there was an explosion so nobody heard me. And I realized that if they had heard me and they have cut, I was not going to be able to shoot the scene. So I just let it go. And at the end of the scene, Clive Owen and Emmanuel Lubezki, cinematographer, they were so excited. And I said, yes, guys, but there was blood in the lens. And the two of them, they turned at me and said, but that was the miracle. And then I realized it was true. It was about embracing those accidents, embracing those things that I could have never designed originally.
Seeing Theo in one location, then making his way to the building in one go feels more like an adventure that the audience has tagged along as well. At times it feels like a documentary and we are spectating the real life events of this world and its problems. Seeing the people going after him outside, then seeing them again in the building feels real, as they're running and hiding as well. Theo struggles to find Key and her baby through this labyrinth, hiding and moving. It makes you go on the edge of your seat more. Seeing this creates more of a connection than if it was shot typically. Seeing this in one go is impressive, but it also gives off that impression that you are a participant because you yourself are looking for her through this huge complicated space. Without the scene getting cut, a rhythm is created in the space. The one shot allows them to shape or control your perspective and your emotion, whether it's on the back and forth, the distortion, or anxiousness. One shot creates a bubble for you to step into. And also the director tries to steal your attention through other means besides quick changes of perspective, creating a continuous space where you are fully absorbed in the character's reality. Because when the camera refuses to look away, neither can we. It is in these moments, these long, unbroken, and alive moments that cinema transcends storytelling and becomes something more intimate. You're not just watching characters through their world, you're actually living in it with them.